Welcome back, all you Loki lovers. It's time to talk about the latest, greatest new Disney Plus Marvel show to be out in Phase 4, which is turning out to be slowly just only TV shows. But they're not bad, so I mean, that's good.
A lot of television.
We're here we're back. It's the Roomies. Jackson, introduce yourself. Hi. Camden, you can introduce yourself afterwards. And
that's
I, Danan,
me?
will introduce myself afterwards.
Hi, I'm Jackson. I'm a roomie talking movies.
Okay, I'm gonna introduce myself afterwards. Hi, I'm Camden. I'm a Roomies Talking Movies roomie.
And just as I laid that out beforehand to lay out the plan completely, I will introduce myself last. I am Danan. I am also a roomie who talks of movies. But today we're doing something that we did with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're talking about the newest hit show. And it's a good thing, Jackson, that it's not a shit show. Am I right?
You're wrong.
Let's calm down now. Okay, let's calm down.
We're coming in too hot. We're going to
much.
talk to you all about Loki episode 1. And the fun thing about this is these will probably come out on the weekend because the episodes come out on Wednesday. So we can get them up, actually not a week later because we have the time to actually do it. If we're nothing else, we're punctual or a week behind sometimes, depending on how busy our lives get. But let's waste no more time. Let's jump right into it. Jackson, you're waiting around. You got your swim trunks on. Let's jump into this Loki water.
Let's start it off. So
Loki water.
So we pick up right after he picks up the Tesseract. He travels through time without realizing it, and he gets hit in the face by a person. It was really
not just a person. The person?
The time police.
The time police.
Get whacked.
Which kind of sounds like one of those Lego themes that they make, which is like their own original idea. It runs for like 3 years.
In Time Police City.
The time police need to get away. Build them their escape ship. Hey! But we noticed something very early on is that apparently time travel is totally fine as long as it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's a little weird, right?
Yeah. Oh, also, we should probably establish this right in the beginning. Big old spoiler warning. We're not going to waste your time. If you want to go watch it, go watch it. If you don't and you just want to hear what we have to say about it, then continue sitting through. We're going to be just going right through this. No bars held back. You know what I'm saying?
No bars.
Camden, spoil the best part. See, no spoilers completely. We're all spoilers from this point on. Thank you, Camden.
I'm just thinking. I'm getting ready.
So afterwards, we meet the TVA or the Time Variance
Authority.
Yeah.
Authority, or as Camden liked to call them. Man, Camden, you've just not been delivering today. Giving you multiple setups.
Camden, you clearly don't work for Amazon.
I thought that there was some inside joke going on here. I don't know.
No, I thought you were going to be like, oh, the tortellini.
Oh, you can't see. I got to come up with the zingers. You can't just ask me to do them. So.
I'm setting you up. I'm giving you a big old setup, and you're just letting the ball hit you right in the chest.
No. You're not setting me up. You're just throwing me right in the deep end, Dane. And I'm a little baby. I have to walk in with my floaty devices on my arms and then pee in the pool a little bit.
There it is. There's the joke. It was a big old setup. It was a big old setup for a pee-pee.
I'm back, baby.
We figure out, based off of a very, very thorough little cartoon that they show in the beginning when Loki is getting processed to be executed, we kind of find out some major shit.
Just a little bit.
They kind of nonchalantly in one sentence say, well, as time began, there were multiple timelines that battled for supremacy. Ours won, and now we're the only timeline. So there's just a timeline war that we never knew about.
Cool.
Which kind of implies that we're probably getting another timeline fight by the end of this phase.
That's kind of what I figured, yeah.
I think the next big thing they're setting up, I don't think we're setting up ourselves a big bad. I think we're setting ourselves up with another big story.
A big event.
A big event, if you will. Instead of doing the Infinity saga like they did beforehand, this time I think they're going to do something. They're going to pull a bit of a Secret Wars on us, where a bunch of multiverses come together to battle, and then the winning multiverse gets kept alive. I think that's a great way to bring back certain characters. We might still see Robert Downey Jr., some Chris Evans. You know what I mean? I feel like this is their safety cushion to kind of go like, they're gone, but different versions are still going to be here. Like, that's going to be their workaround to keep characters that people really like that are no longer in the MCU around.
Just for when they need a little bit more money, they'll be like, hey, we got Tony Stark in this one, and people are like, oh, okay.
Or like with Dave Bautista and possible like Drax recasting after the third Guardians movie, this is a great way for them to do it. Like after Secret Wars, everything goes back to normal, but some characters are slightly different. This multiverse version of Drax is staying. Like I feel like that's going to be their workaround with it.
Yeah. Well, that's what they kind of did with Gamora.
Yeah, but we'll figure out more about that in Guardians Volume 3. Anywho, we get a bunch of fun little scenes of Loki talking to a bunch of people working at their desks. And then we got my favorite part of this episode where the one worker was like, step through if you comply that you're not a robot. And they say, yeah. Wait, am I a robot? I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was
Pretty funny.
And then we get to the worst part of the episode.
The worst part of the episode?
Owen Wilson therapy session. Why
was that the worst part?
I thought it was boring. He was just like, why do
Jackson's
you kill
just
people?
scared of going to therapy. It's okay.
I'm scared of Owen Wilson.
It was basically like Loki's like, I need to be God. And then Owen Wilson was like, why do you hurt people? And then it was just a back and forth of the same like words over and over until Loki saw the way he died. And then he was like, oh, wait.
And then he was like, oh, I don't like killing people. They needed to humanize him, Jackson.
Well, I think another
to humanize a person than death.
Another funny part was when he was trying to escape, right? And he goes to the guy and he said, "I'm gonna gut you like a fish." The guy's like, "What's a fish?"
Casey.
And then he just has
like
the entire like thing of Infinity Stones in his.
He has like multiple of the same Infinity Stones.
Not just all of the Infinity Stones, a plethora of Infinity Stones, like multiple Time Stones, multiple Soul Stones. And the thing that I think is really interesting about that is that there's always going to be a bigger thing. Like that's how it works in the comics too. There's always some bigger looming threat or power. And it's clearly showing that like even though the Infinity Stones in our basic like storylines that we're going to get, they're always going to be an issue because they can like blow up planets. But then you're dealing with someone like the people who control the flow of time. That's just nothing. Like that instantly they can negate that ability because of their omnipotence.
And I think that's part of the reason why Loki's like demeanor changed a bit is because he was like, oh wait, there are just powers that are way beyond my comprehension. And then he was like, maybe I'm not like, a god. These guys are the real gods. They have the Infinity Stones and it's not even like an issue to them.
I did think that although Jackson, you didn't really like the initial therapy scene, I think it was a good play to set up for the later thing because Owen Wilson doesn't go like, you want to talk now? Loki just starts opening up.
Yeah.
I will say that this is 1,000 times better therapy than the ones we saw in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, true.
I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was like terrible. I just thought it was kind of like the same thing over and over, and they probably could have shortened it. But I think it also explains like kind of how Loki's, his attitude changed from, the 2012 Avengers throughout the course of the movies. He's actually like not that shitty of a person.
Yeah. I do think like the two things that they set up with that scene is like, one, they like showing like, okay, the Loki at the end was everyone's favorite Loki. And we know that this Loki has the potential to be good. So we need to kind of jumpstart that. Like he doesn't flip 180, but he just like starting to open up.
Yeah.
Because we haven't really, in all the movies that he's been in, Loki's still been Loki. We haven't had like the character himself present for the audience to really attach to. They just get attached because he's like, oh, he's funny. Oh, he's like confident, things like that. But now we're seeing him as a human, a fully fleshed out character rather than like the archetype of like the trickster.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. And they also do that whole scene to kind of set up Owen Wilson as like this everyday man who's also just an omnipotent being. Like, because if it was anyone who was of lesser power level to Loki, trying to get that out of him, Loki would just kill him with his bare hands. But they do a good job setting up really early. Like, he just can rewind him to sit back into the chair. He has like complete control over him to talk to him.
Yeah.
And then we also find out a little bit later, Jackson, why does Owen Wilson want him?
They want him because the villain... Okay, so there's someone going around different timelines and messing with them. And also killing people working for the TVA. And we find out that that person that they're trying to catch is Loki. So there's 2 Lokis, and I believe the one that we follow is going to be the one that's good, and the one that they're trying to catch is the one that's bad. And they want the good one to help find the bad one.
But where did the second Loki come from?
Another timeline. It had to be.
I'm confused on how their whole timeline thing works. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
They might explain
they
it.
need
Like
a bit more
maybe
explanation.
there was some alternate timeline. Because if you can use the Tesseract to travel through time, maybe another version of Loki decided to do the same thing but earlier.
Yeah, but if he did
Like,
that
before
earlier,
he
then like, do
could
they
have
have a
been-
way that they can put him back in the timeline, like nothing happened, to fix it? How do they like fix
Yeah,
it
they
from that
they
point?
established that in the little cartoon that they showed, that anyone who like leaves their timeline gets replaced. That timeline gets fixed whenever they notice that it's out. But they can
So they get replaced? They don't
yes,
get...
like they fix the timeline, so that person who
Yeah.
chose to leave the timeline, they get like executed or get punished, like
Yeah.
they get imprisoned because they tried to break the timeline. But the job
Mm-hmm.
of like the people is to fix it. So like Jackson said, maybe this is like a version of our Loki, not a multiverse one, but just of our Loki who found out about
Because
the
it kind
stone
of seems
earlier.
like they're implying that there is no multiverse right now.
Yeah, but
Right?
but like the things that they've mentioned throughout that could, like, maybe there are, but they just don't know about them, because they're like,
Yeah.
if too many branches of a timeline happen, a nexus event happens, and then a multiverse becomes. And they have like those little watches that all of the TVA people have, where they like look and they're like, okay, if this branch reaches this red line, that means that we're screwed. That means there's another multiverse or something like that.
Yeah, so probably by the end of this series, there will be a multiverse. It'll be the result of
Yeah.
some event.
Oh
This
yeah,
series is
that
going to
happens.
change a lot.
And we'll probably get a lot of explanations, like, as we go down. Like, we don't even know, like, anything about this, like, bad Loki. They didn't even show us him, other than he's just killing people.
I'm almost positive, because Kevin Feige had mentioned that this is going to be the most impactful Disney Plus series so far. I think it's very easy because it's probably going to be setting up this is going to be what sparks the multiverse event.
Yeah.
Like the Scarlet Witch stuff
Probably.
happens, but technically this stuff is happening beforehand. Because this takes
it?
place during Endgame. Because he just goes
yeah.
immediately afterwards. And
I guess it
WandaVision-
also technically like doesn't take place.
Yeah, well, because that, like they said, like time works differently, so they could easily go, "Oh, this
Yeah.
happened before, this happened afterwards." For all we know, this could be happening years in the future, as it's already
Yeah.
passed, because they kind of gave themselves that leeway. But this, I'm pretty sure, this is what's going to set it up, and then Scarlet Witch is going to make it worse, trying to find her kids.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that
In,
will
like,
affect
another
Spider-Man
timeline.
3, and then Doctor
Yeah.
Strange will be capping that off.
I'm liking what they're setting up. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
this
like
seems
what
fun.
they're setting up.
And I'd be fine if they started doing this more, where they're like, okay, these 4 films are going to be this own arc. These 2 movies in this show are going to be a
It
different
makes more sense to do it like that, though, right? And
I'd
the
be
way that it
fine
was in
with
the
that.
past almost seemed like it was kind of like, almost like that, but like the Avengers movies were kind of like the milestones of like where separate like
Yeah,
arcs
they're like,
were, I
you-
guess.
if
But
you-
now
if
this
you
is
didn't
like
have
this
to
is
watch
more
anything.
defined.
Yeah, because it's like you could just skip and go straight to the Avengers and watch each Avengers movie, and that's like the new change.
Mm-hmm.
But like now, I kind of prefer this. If like these next 4 movies are telling this story, stuff like that.
They each contribute to this storyline in their own way. I like it.
But what do you overall think about this first episode of Loki? Is it
I'm
the
very
best?
excited.
Is this the best opening to a Disney Plus season we've had for Marvel?
Yeah. Best
Probably.
opening, yeah. I don't think
Yeah,
it's better
it's-
than WandaVision.
Actually, I like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's, like, opening. I like that opening.
I think they're both good. I think that the overall, this is like our first actually biggest experimental one. Because WandaVision was like, oh, okay, this is like going to be a trippy Twilight Zone thing.
It just didn't
Falcon and the Winter
affect much,
Soldier,
though.
you're like, oh, this is MCU. This is classic. This is spy stuff. I got it. And Loki's, you're like, okay, is this a comedy? Is this like an action thing? What's going
Yeah.
on here? And the fact that they can change anything on a dime based on where they go to, I think that's exciting. And I'm sure we're going to find more things throughout this episode. One last thing to cap on before we go. Happy Pride Month. Did you see that they finally confirmed what it is in the comics anyways, that on Loki's registration papers, it was that his gender was fluid because he can shapeshift into anything?
I did not see that.
I thought that was
I
a
did
nice
not
little
see
detail.
that.
But that's cool.
Because
Yeah.
he can do that. Like,
That makes sense.
might as well put it because
Yeah.
it's like that in the comics. It's just, Representation without being like, this is what the character is. This one thing is their describing feature. Good job.
Good job, Marvel.
You did the minimum.
You did the bare minimum, and boy,
We're
how
proud
did
of you.
Good job. Hell yeah. Jackson, go ahead and let the balloons out.
They're out.
Thank you. They were getting loud.
They walked over by
they were
themselves.
getting loud.
Yeah.
Jackson, go ahead and give us a overall rating for all of us. What did you think of this first episode? Out of
everyone?
Out of 10
Yeah,
Infinity
just,
Stones in a drawer. Just speak on behalf.
You know what? Let's say 8.5. How about that?
Wow.
I can get with that.
I could get on board with that though.
Jackson, great rate. You read our minds.
He
Great,
picked
awesome.
like pretty average. He picked
picked,
above
like-
average, and we were like, okay.
He's like, I liked it, but it wasn't the best thing ever. 8.5, and we're like, yeah. All right.
Way to
As
go,
you know,
Jackson.
Camden, give the YouTube spiel.
You know, we're on YouTube now, and you know how YouTube is. You know, they take
This
the
is
YouTube
going on
things, YouTube money.
No, I meant just
pretty
tell
much
them-
all you gotta do is subscribe, and then maybe like or comment if you're feeling so inclined.
And
share to your grandma specifically. She would love this.
On your mother's side too. So
make sure you also watch our podcast if you haven't, Roomies Talking Movies, out wherever you listen to podcasts. We're trying to make this the best and biggest podcast in the entire multiverse, so if we could get that started now, preferably, that would be huge.
not much we can do though. You know what I mean?
That's up to you guys. It's up
Yeah,
to
you guys
all.
gotta. Can you do it for us?
Really do all the
Please?
heavy lifting, please.
I don't want to do it anymore.
I'm sick and tired.
It's your guys' turn.
Well, we will see you all next Loki episode, and join us on our next episode of our podcast. Take care.
Bye.
Goodbye.